Sorry, I'm just jumping in on this video from the car, but I've just been swimming and I just had a really strong message coming through that I know resonates with me and must be resonating with you, which is why you're here listening to this. So it's important. It's about abundance consciousness, embodying that which we wish to draw in, but not just material things, like literally the energy, and seeing gratitude and beauty in all things, because that is where the magic is. And obviously when you get to a certain point of doing the work and manifesting and reading and meditating, you really do know that you attract what you embody. And even though for a lot of people it starts off as like, oh, I want to manifest lots of money and riches and a lovely house and all the abundant things that we want for whatever reason. Yeah, everybody gets to that point where you just kind of click and you realize when you are happy and fulfilled inside and externally, wherever you are, even if you're living on the street, which I know that's controversial and maybe triggering for some people, but it is the true energetic vibration of, if we find gratitude and happiness and fulfillment wherever we are, then the external has no option, the universe has no option but to meet that. And that's where the magic is in life, and it's been withheld from us, from society, from governments, from systems. Like, people know this, they just don't want us to tap into it. Or, you know, the people like you that are on here know it and do want to share it and let people know. We want to inspire other people, because then we can be an empowered society. We can live in the golden future, in golden communities where eventually everyone's telepathic, psychic, we all can see the good and the light in each other, and there's no crime. Because I mean, I've been reading a lot of Diana Cooper's Golden Future book, but it's true and it's happening and it will happen. And obviously society and ego is just crumbling right now because it's trying to hold on tightly to the structures and formations that we've known for safety and for whatever other reasons, control. And we're just going beyond that now. And obviously our ego is scared and wants to help keep us safe. But the more we can surrender and embrace what's going on in our lives, the more magic will flow. It's inevitable. The biggest thing that I was really channeling this morning was, I don't know if you're affected by weather, or maybe like me, if you're empathic and feel the collective energy, then it can feel really strong, particularly at times like in January and winter, when everyone's talking about the weather and how depressing it is and all negative. You know, I know they're all labels, but it really can affect us energetically and just verbally in conversations with people, even though we don't know that we overhear in the street. Like, it gets to me all the time, and I have to really come back within. It's raining where you are, it's grey like it is here, just know that it's just an external, and you can still see so much beauty. And like, I go to the forest and see the magical trees and the greenery, and that lights me up, even if it's raining. And if it's just rained, then like you get the fresh, beautiful smell, oxygen in the trees. And also, I know this message will trigger people that are, which we all can be at times, addicted to the lower vibration stories of victimization, of like, oh, it's easy for you to say you haven't had this or that. It's like, I've been through all that. I've been to hell and back on my awakening journey in the last 5 years, and my Kundalini awakening, which I'm happy to talk more about if anyone has any questions. But yeah, like, I get it. But the thing is, through that pain and through the darkness is where the light comes in. You have to crack to let the light in, so to speak. We're all so scared of that. We're also scared of sitting with our emotions. And understandably, we were taught not to. We're taught, don't cry, don't show it, hide it away, especially in England, like typical British society, like, don't show what you're feeling. And that's so sad, because that connects us as humans. Imagine if we all showed how we were feeling and like always connected in that way, there'd be so much more empathy and understanding. Nobody would be wearing masks or hiding who they really are, because we just accept and understand. Anyway, it's going that way. Get it? Like, it is easy to victimize. We've all been there, and to say like, oh, you know, they've had this or they've got that. But most people, everyone has dark nights of the soul where they go through the hard times and awaken, or come through them, or have like learn lessons. And just because somebody's smiling is no reason for, you know, bitterness, because you don't know what their story is. Like, don't judge a book by its cover, as they say. Maybe that's relevant in your life right now. And stay true to myself, and know that weather and whatever's going on externally is just whatever's going on externally. We can still find happiness, magic, beauty, gratitude, life, love, you know, in the day-to-day, even if it's pouring rain. Like, yeah, we might have to look harder, because it is easy to fall into the physical 3D egoic mindset of like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, it's preventing it. But what if that day that it rains, you read a book and it's really inspiring, and then you go on to do a course which leads you onto your, you know, soul mission, your soul path and dream career? Or you end up going to a coffee shop and you have a conversation with somebody and you inspire them, or, you know, there's just so many ripples, and everything does happen for a reason. And a lot of people find, I want to say, plot holes in that. So that's my set decoration film mindset speaking, but people find error with that. They're looking with their mind too deeply and like, how does this cause that, and how can that be the truth, the same for everybody? How can everything happen for a reason? But it does, because energy, the soul, the source is in all of us, and we're all walking around like little particles and attracting and magnetizing and bumping into other people with similar vibrations, which is, we know, the divine irony when someone triggers us is not because they're being ridiculous. I mean, maybe they are, but there's part of us, whether it's in our shadow or it's consciously at the surface, we've attracted that energy because we have part of that energy within us. So it's just funny, really, isn't it? Like, everything we're told is not true, and no matter what situation you're in, whatever your story is that you've told yourself, when we awaken, you can break out of that. I mean, I'm proof of that right now. I'm not working, I'm not earning, I'm not doing what society says you have to do to be successful. I've done all those things. I've achieved success. I've worked in the theatre industry, film industry, traveled the world, just moved back from a dream job in France working for Disney Imagineering. It was too corporate. It wasn't what I always dreamt it would be. And there is a grieving in that process, but I learned that the magic is inside of me. It's inside of all of us. It's not in that case, a company or in Disney. Maybe, I believe it was in Walt Disney and how he started the company, but it's in me. It's in all of us. Like, we hold that magic spark. Whatever is authentic to us and the vibration that we came in to be, that is our magic that we are here to share with the world. And that's your magic, and that's why you're here. And I feel like you're finding this because, like me, your soul is just propelling you forwards right now. Like, time's a wasting. I just heard, like, we're no longer in the time where we're just sitting on our loins or waiting for stuff. You know, we can attract in by manifesting, but not just thinking about like, oh, the house and the job and all that stuff. I mean, yeah, whatever makes you happy, but it's just divine, floating around, meeting up with each other. Like, that's so inspiring. It's so magical. And the more we practice this and do it, like, you know, we've all had that situation where we think of a friend and then they phone, and it is energy. We're attracting that. I had it the other day when I was looking on Spotify, and somebody that I worked with like 5 years ago on a film job, it just showed up, like, the music that she was listening to, and I clicked on her face and I was like, oh, that's, yeah, somebody, like, you know, blast from the past, haven't seen their face in a while. And then I went for a walk with my partner up the road, and I got a text like 10 minutes later from this person saying, are you in this place? Or did I just see you walking up this hill? I didn't know she lived there even. And like, of all the times and places that we could both be, and the fact that I'd seen her on my phone that morning, and then I'd walked up the hill at that time, and then she had seen me and then thought to message me, I was just blown away in like magical laughter in a way, if that's even a thing, because I was like, haha, universe, I see you, I get it. Just so quick, instant, if you want to call it manifestation, but it's not even that, it's just instant energy attraction. And it happened another time, I think it was the same week, and a girl that I'd recently just met through like yoga and sound bath ceremonies, I think she'd just moved to the area, but not even in the same town as I'm currently in, a few towns away. So yeah, it's actually relevant to that. So I'd done those ceremonies, and then that weekend I just really felt like I wanted to go to Glastonbury, wanted to connect with sacred everything, and with myself. And I was looking for if there was any retreats on in Glastonbury that weekend, and then one that came up, I clicked on it, and I was amazed to find that she was one of the people running it. So anyway, I messaged her, I was like, hey, blah blah blah, I met you the other day, I've just seen that you're running this retreat, I was looking for one, and it feels divinely aligned because obviously I know of you and really being called to Glastonbury right now again, but for whatever reason. And then so we were messaging each other the details, and at the same time I'd gone up the road in my town and was in a coffee shop and typing actually on my this story that I'm writing about miracles. And yeah, she just walked in with her partner and her dog, and I literally was like mouth open, kind of gobsmacked, to be honest, because I was literally just messaging her back and she walks in, and then I felt really awkward, like a stalker, going up to her. I was like, well, I can't not address somebody. I've done that before, and it's like, this has happened for a reason. I'm meant to speak to her. And yeah, I mean, I just said this, I went up to her and said, this is really weird. I'm Emma, you know, I've just been messaging you. It's strange, like, to see you here, and, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, that is the miracle of being. And so we just need to learn not to underestimate the universe, not to underestimate, like, not really give a shit about the weather. I mean, obviously it can affect us, or we can let it affect us, or whatever, you know, change day-to-day things about when you go for a walk. So anyway, I messaged her. I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I met you the other day. I've just seen that you're running this retreat. I was looking for one, and it feels divinely aligned because obviously I know of you and really being called to Glastonbury right now again, but for whatever reason. And then, so we were messaging each other the details. And at the same time, I'd gone up the road in my town and was in a coffee shop and typing actually on my, this story that I'm writing about miracles. And yeah, she just walked in with her partner and her dog, and I literally was like, mouth open, kind of gobsmacked, to be honest, because I was literally just messaging her back and she walks in, and then I felt really awkward, like a stalker, going up to her. I was like, well, I can't not address somebody. I've done that before, and it's like, this has happened for a reason. I'm meant to speak to her. And yeah, I mean, I just said this, I went up to her and said, this is really weird. I'm Emma, you know, I've just been messaging you. It's strange, like, to see you here, and, you know, all that stuff. But yeah, that is the miracle of being. And so we just need to learn not to underestimate the universe, not to underestimate, like, not really give a shit about the weather. I mean, obviously it can affect us, or we can let it affect us, or whatever, you know, change day-to-day things about when you go for a walk or whatever. But in the grand scheme of things, we just need to let, I don't know, I'm hesitant to say let go and let God, because I'm not religious, and some people don't like that word, and I had to work through my triggers of it for a long time. But it's just letting go and surrendering to what is, and not trying to control, like, God, like I was saying, I'm not working, and it's so easy to get into your headspace of what's successful. And that was my original point as well. Like, I've been successful in terms of what society says it is, and I know that the fulfillment's not there. It can be. We can, when we're fulfilled within, we attract it externally, and those things can make us happy, but they're not the only things that can make us happy. If we put all of our hopes and dreams and passions and happiness into one day striving and succeeding and achieving that goal, unless we are happy and fulfilled within, that thing will not fulfill us on its own. And I really want to share that, because I've been through like years of freelance work, working hard, networking, striving, typical middle child syndrome, wanting to achieve, make something of myself for some kind of invisible validation. And if I can share that that's not the way, and it helps somebody to realize that, like, obviously it's great to have dreams and achieve and work towards things, but I hear so many people talking about it, like, oh, when I work at Disney, or when I get this job and I'm working towards this, and it's like, having done that and achieved that, and I know some people get to those places and they love their job, and that's great. I didn't stay in that job because it was too corporate for me. But the point is that if we externalize what's going to fulfill us, and are always striving towards this dream job and this dream life, or whatever it is, dream house, car, family, relationship, it keeps it energetically outside of ourselves, because we're in longing. So the energy is in want, not in abundantly receiving and having it already. But two, when it comes in, it may not fulfill us, because we're not fulfilled on the inside. We were always longing in the longing energy. So just know that you are good enough. You're more than good enough. You're amazing. Your very existence is incredible. And we're all upgrading, whatever you want to call it. Like, your vibration, your frequency is rising so high right now, and you're listening to this because your soul doesn't want to stay small anymore. You just need to follow what lights you up, and do it in the now, in the present moment. Like, thinking in the future, I'm going to do this and it's going to really fulfill me. If you're not doing it in the present, which is all that really exists, you're not fulfilling yourself. And why do we hold ourselves back from joy and happiness and fulfillment? Why don't we do the things we love to do? Why do we create invisible restraints and restrictions and structures of, like, oh, I do this at this time, or I'm going to do this on this day or at the weekend? And it's like, the whole society is messed up in that way. Like, oh, at the weekend I'm going to be free to do whatever I want, and then like strive in pain in the week for the people that do that. It's like, it's not the way. We weren't born to live that way. I mean, this is a whole other thing as well, but I went down the rabbit holes again of looking at ADHD. I mean, I've never been diagnosed, disclaimer, think what you will, but I know that I have those traits, and I'm like 98% sure that if I took a test I would have ADHD. I've done a lot of research and reading into it, and I know that about myself, but I don't want a label to define me, which is why I don't get the diagnosis. And no issues with anybody else that's had that diagnosis, but I know it's like attuned to a higher dimension. Like they say that anybody, or most people are on the spectrum somewhere, but it's just a different way of thinking. And so because it's different, society labels it as different with a label. And for some people that label can bring them down. For some people it gives them understanding. For me, it helps me to understand myself. Like I know in one aspect, in that aspect, why I am the way I am with certain things and the way I think, and jump from one thing to another. But it also has so much excitement and energy and passion. I was watching somebody the other day saying that they were having medication, which obviously if you're on medication and it's right for you, great. I'm not a doctor, but I just feel like it's a plaster on the root cause. And only when we do the therapy and the inner work can we find out why we are the way we are. And I really do believe and feel, I know for me in my system, that my ADHD is was environmental. It was totally about an overstimulating childhood home. I'm very blessed with the upbringing I had, but emotionally the support wasn't there, and there was a lot going on. There's a lot of noise. I wasn't understood or heard, and it creates that, you know, the brain just learns to disassociate. So I know that it's environmental, and I know that if you take medication, it can help. Like it can be help to focus, and especially if you're having a hard time, even psychologically, I can't remember the word, but it's knowing that you've got something that's helping. That can be a massive relief for some people. We all want a distraction, a vice. I always talk about this. We all have a vice, whether it's smoking, drinking. You know, I think I really want to bring in like teddy bear therapy, hugging teddy bears to comfort our inner child, because that would just alleviate the need for a vice, because we'd learn to sit with it. I've been writing a poem, I should read it. It's called Sit With It. It's basically like sit with it at the cinema, sit with it on the train, sit with it on the plane, sit with it when you're sad, sit with it when you're angry, sit with it when you're scared, sit with it with a friend, sit with it at the table, blah, 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 goes on. But it was about originally anxiety or any hard, tough feeling. But when we sit with it, we feel it to heal it, we surrender to it. And what causes the anxiety is resistance to the pain, or what causes depression is, in that way, sometimes the resistance to it. When we let ourselves feel it, eventually it will heal. I can promise that. I mean, maybe I won't say I can promise it, because everyone's on their own journey, and I don't accept any liability for anyone's personal healing journey. But in my experience, it works, and it's the only thing that works, to surrender to the pain. And I learned that through, I think it's on lonawolf.com. There's a soul meditation, Luna and Soul, and it's literally surrender, observe, allow, and release. And it's the only thing I found that works for those heavier feelings, because you're letting it be, which takes a lot of courage, and then you're sitting with it, and you're going behind the pain, and you're coming back to the soul within you. It's so powerful. I'll put the link down below. I mean, I was watching, you know, Gabor Mate talks about ADHD. He's just the same, that medication is not the thing. Like, yes, it can help, and trust your own judgment and speak with your own doctors about that, but it's putting a plaster on the wound. That you need to go to the root. We need to go to the root cause of whatever issue. And anyway, I'm not here to lecture. It's just, I find it really powerful that society labels things, and it can be really easy to then go into victimization about something and tell ourselves stories, when actually things like ADHD are being attuned to our high dimension. It is an empowering, magical gift of thinking differently, of thinking outside the box. Like, I went swimming this morning and could not understand why there has to be swimming slots. Like, there's a slot from 11:30 to 12:30 and 12:30 to 1:30, and they were just lame swimming, and I arrived just after 12, so I had 25 minutes, and the guy obviously wanted me to get out at 1:30. And I understand, I'm not like, I mean, I am a bit rebellious and can look to debate, maybe that's the ADHD part, but I just don't understand it. I am I don't know what they say, justice fighter, truth seeker. I will debate or stand my ground for other people for anything that I deem morally wrong, and everyone has different morals, I get that, but I think that is a trait of the ADHD, or just of, you know, light worker starseed. Like, we all have that within us when we awaken to it. It's not saying that I'm better than anybody else, but I know for me that I'm here to make a difference in the world. So are you. And I just don't get the systems and the structures of why things have to be certain schedules or timings. Like, time isn't really real. I mean, it's real in terms of the 3D world, and we all know what it is collectively, so it exists. But why do we let it limit us? we don't need it to limit us anymore. Yeah, it's very incredible. So yeah, like, if you have an ADHD diagnosis, or you're wondering, or any other diagnosis, like, please don't let it define you, because maybe that is the case, but that's not all you are. And that is an amazing thing in itself. Like, you are magical. You're here to make a difference, to change the system, to change the structures, to breathe in this new world by being our authentic selves, by being who you were meant to be, by being true to yourself. Like, so many times in life things don't make sense, or we're just trying to work out with our brain, and that's not the way. We can only understand it with our soul, and the ego will never understand that. And we have to thank our ego for keeping us safe, you know. But yeah, all the ADHDers out there, woohoo, go you! It's amazing. The capacity that you have for creativity and for life is unmatched. Like, don't put yourself in a box. Don't bring yourself down to society standards. Like, you're here to live beautifully, magically, truly, uniquely, high frequently, high vibrationally. So yeah, just know you're the magic. Know you can make a difference. Don't let the world put you down. Don't let the external dictate how your day should go. Hold on to that magic within you, and that high, that natural high, because just wow. There's no more words. Just wow. So I feel like I've spoken way too long. The information keeps flowing through, so I hope there's been something here for you. I mean, I know there has been, because you're listening to this and you're attracted to this for a reason. I've got so much more to say on these many topics, and yeah, I will probably go into it more. But thank you for being here. Let me know if things I come up for you, whatever you're feeling or going through. But thank you so much for tuning in, and yeah, connect with me if you want to chat more, have a card reading, and just know that you are the magic. You're here to make a difference. And yeah, I can't wait to see how this goes for society moving forward. So blessings to you. Speak soon.